truth is, you don't need it anyway. Mark Miller, the new minister of the IRCC, was sworn into position back in October last year, and since then, he has turned all regulations on immigration, particularly international student regulations, upside down, inside out. And the latest of the strings of changes on the IRCC regulations are the possible changes on post-graduation work permit. These changes actually boil down into two reasons why. First is because Canadians are not happy with the government or the Trudeau government, and the government is trying to appease the Canadian citizens on what is happening right now. Inflation is rife. There is no proper housing or enough housing in Canada, and this is the second reason, and therefore the regulations being put in place for international students. I'd like to reiterate though that as per the shoot of this video, the IRCC did not put out or release any directive on the possible changes of PGWP. Really, the question now is, with all the changes going on international students regulations of the IRCC and now the PGWP, do you really need a post-graduation work permit anyway? Or is there any way around it? The Nova Scotia immigration program has one particular pathway that I believe you should focus into, the international graduate stream. In this particular pathway, there are two interesting positions or industries that you definitely should consider when deciding on which program you should take. The first priority are the healthcare workers, and the second priority are the early childhood educators. These two are two of the four priorities of NOCs under the international graduate stream. One school in particular in Halifax offers both programs in these industries, the Oxford International School. Now, I have to tell you, Oxford International is a private institution, and therefore PGWP is certainly not issued to any student that graduates from Oxford, but they counter this disadvantage on a remarkable scale wherein they guarantee that students of Oxford will have a job even before they finish their programs. Both of these programs have practicums or internship. These are on-the-job training on different companies. Oxford International will provide 4 companies to the students to take on their practicum with. Which company the student will work for is the decision of the student. Now, the promise of Oxford is that definitely before the student finishes the 12 months, as a matter of fact, it's only 9 months of studies, the student will already have received a job offer from any of these 4 companies, and it is again the student's decision which company he or she would want to work for. Can you imagine the power that lies within your hands in having the decision, in having the authority to decide which company you work for? This does not happen every day, and these 2 programs are existing right now. These are to your advantage. But not all programs are created equal. Not all schools are created equal either. Oxford International is a DLI school, meaning it is eligible under the international graduate stream of Nova Scotia, because one of the requirements is that the student must graduate from a DLI school. But, and this is a big but, if you are a family who wants to move to Canada, it means that the student or the main applicant will be the first one to move to Canada. The rest of the dependents cannot move to Canada together with the student unless, of course, the spouse and the children are willing to come here on visit visa or tourist visa, which I certainly do not recommend, because if the rest of the family is on tourist visa, then the spouse is not able to work and the children are not able to study. Now the question is, how bad really is that situation? How long does the family or the dependents have to wait before the main student is able to sponsor the rest of the family? And I believe crunching that number will make sense so that we all have a better understanding on the advantages and disadvantages as well of these programs. Let's try to be strict and say you received and accepted an offer 6 months into your program. It is expected though that when you move to Canada to study, you are PR ready, meaning you are eligible, you already have the documents required by the Nova Scotia immigration program under this pathway, such as you should have your IELTS ready, they require CLB5, you should be able to prove financial capability to settle in Nova Scotia, you should have your education documents ready, and within accepting your job offer, it means then that you are able to apply within 1 week. According to the Nova Scotia Immigration Department, they are able to submit or process the ITA or the invitation to apply within 3 months after receiving the application. Therefore, 6 months plus 3 months is 9 months, and 1 week of preparation means 9 months and 1 week. So far, so good. If the documents you submitted to the government of Nova Scotia were all eligible, were all acceptable, and they are happy with your documents, and then they will issue you the invitation to apply, which then effectively adds 600 points on your Express Entry profile. Upon receiving this Express Entry 600 points comes the exciting part, because we are now on the federal level. This is supposedly the last and final level for the application of your PR. The moment that the federal government draws its Express Entry, you will effectively receive an invitation to apply for PR, because your score will be more than 600 already. And if you will look at the CIC website, according to them, the processing of PR for PNPs really is between 12 and 14 months. So friends, therefore, if we sum up everything from the time you receive your job offer, to the time you prepare your documents, to the time you submit your application with the Nova Scotia Immigration Department, and the time you receive your ITA, receive your 600 points, receive your invitation to apply for PR, and the ultimate processing of your PR, we are in total of 2 years. And 2 years really is not bad. And it is quite ironic really, because here we are, everybody chasing the PGWP status, wherein if you study for 1 year, it will take you 3 years to land a PR. And if you studied for 2 years, then it will take you at least 4 to 5 years to land your actual permanent residency in Canada. So there you go, we crunched the numbers, we studied the pros and the cons of studying in a private institution. It is up to you guys to decide which path you will take. If you are still in limbo and cannot decide, guys, we can help. Certainly we can. Email us admin@questcanadaca.com, and we are more than happy to answer your questions. But this is a breath of fresh air, because for the first time in a very long time, international students have the power to choose which company you would want to work for. Could you imagine that? It doesn't happen every day.